lot of holidays. People say, oh, I like Christmas, New Year's. No, no, Patriots Day for me. And the reason I like Patriots Day, it has two of the best sporting events when I was growing up. At 10 o'clock, the Red Sox would play. And at 12 o'clock, we'd have the running of the Boston Marathon. Oh, for 35 years, I would be right at the corner of Cleveland Circle. And I'd be watching these runners coming up over the cobblestones and the trolley tracks as they headed towards the Prudential Center. Hopkinton to the Prudential Center, 26 miles. And quite a few years ago, they used to run that distance for a bowl of beef stew and a laurel wreath. That was it. No big endorsements from sneaker companies. Anyone could enter. The mailman, the butcher, the doctors, anyone could enter. Now, I loved it because I loved that corner to be able to look, because when the runners would come over, I would yell to them, you can see it from here, boys, you can see it from here. And they could see that Prudential building. And they would light up because they knew they only had so many miles left to go. And to get to that top of that hill there, they had already had to cross 3 of the big hills in Newton, coming to Cleveland Circle. The last one was called Heartbreak Hill. And the reason for that being is because a lot of runners never made it past Heartbreak Hill. They had to give up. But I was home and I was reading the paper for this year's marathon, and it said we're going to allow wheelchairs to compete this year. I thought to myself, wheelchairs? Oh, I've seen runners having problems, but wheelchairs coming over there with people pushing a wheelchair, that's going to be really something. I'm going to have to really be there this year. So I got my position and I'm looking up that hill. I see the first wheelchair coming down, and it's the hospital wheelchair, and it makes its turn and it goes down. And then I see the second wheelchair coming over the top of the hill. And he was seen to be moving not in the right direction. And he lost control, and all of a sudden, it was his wheel got caught in the track, and it punted his torso. It was a man, and he had no legs. He had 2 knots on his pants where his legs used to be. And he flew through the air, and I saw, as he was in the air, I saw his number fly off. And I saw him bounce twice. He came to rest. And people started to run over to him. I ran up from my corner spot. I said, oh my heavens, look at this. Oh, never seen anything? We got to get an ambulance or something. And as I got there, the other crowds of people were around. And I hear he's yelling, don't anyone touch me. Don't anyone touch me. If anyone touches me, I will be disqualified. And I have to finish this race. Well, we all moved back a little bit. Now I looked in and he was bleeding from his left ear. His arms, those powerful arms that had propelled him all the way down, they were all skinned. He had 2 black gloves, one in each hand. You could tell he was sweating. And I looked at his brown pants. One of those knots had loosened up, and he was dragging that one pant leg, and I could see there was some blood coming down there. And I knew he knew where it was coming from. Nobody could help him. Just then, a man with white hair came through the crowd. He said, everyone back, please. Give this young chap a chance. Give him some air. I thought to myself, give him some air? I think we've got to get him to a doctor or a hospital. The man with white hair walked over and he said, son, can I help you with anything? Sir, I need a little water. Water! Get me some water. Anybody got some water over there? He got a cup full of water. And he said, can I pass it to you, or do I have to leave it in the street? Pass it to me, sir. Man took a drink of water. And the white-haired man and the man with no legs connected in a way that only God would allow. He looked. He said, son, are you sure you want to go on? I have to go on, he said. The white-haired man said, well, your chair is about 10 yards away. It's like a first down in football. Okay, all right. How's my face look? He says to the man with white hair. Ah, the girls will still have a long look at you, if you know what I mean. He starts to go on the cobblestone with his chest and his torso, and he's dragging that pant leg, and he's working his way to that chair. And everybody was moving away. I seen women start to cry, and men taking off their t-shirts and crying. And the college students were all up in the dorm looking down. They started chanting, 4 more yards, 3 more yards. He was moving right on. And he got to the point in steel tracks that had punted him. And he put his head down. And I thought, oh, it's over. Thank heavens it's over. He's going to give up. But he just lasted for a moment, resting. And he put his head back up again. And he kept moving his arms forward. And he says to the man with white hair, I'm so sorry to be causing so much trouble here. The man with white hair could hold it no longer. He put his hands over his face and he wept. And he said, son, I'm so proud to know you. And he's walking beside him as he's moving towards that chair. And the little boy came near over here and said, little boy, get away from that chair right now. Get away from that chair. The man with white hair says, son, this is going to be the hardest thing for you to do. Is going to be to turn that chair upside and get in it. That's going to be the hardest thing for you to do. No, sir. The hardest thing for me to do would be to lay in this street and ask somebody for help. That'd be the hardest thing. And with that, he was moving more towards that chair. More towards that chair. It was a hush. And he grabbed it. Now, I've seen baskets made and goals scored, and I've seen crowds at the Garden and everything. When he grabbed that chair, the place went wild. It was 20 deep with people. He grabbed it. And we said, what's he going to do with it? And he flipped it up on its side. And with 2 flips of his body, he was in it. He raised his hand straight up. Like that. We knew he was in it. He was starting a conversation with himself. Just like that. He was talking. And then he brought his hand down. He started to move his feet, his position on the wheel. And he started to get ready to go back down that hill. And I was never close enough to the wheelchair warrior to listen to what he had to say to himself. But I was close enough to the man with white hair as he was talking to a couple of people, and I listened. And he simply said to these people, I had a boy about his age. As he disappeared into the crowd, the wheelchair warrior finished the race.